Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with an ancient story, around 20 years ago, in which our OP taught a lesson to a rude redneck. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. No beer for you. This happened quite a long while ago when I was bartending and waiting tables in a small bar/family restaurant in Virginia. In Virginia, the ABC board controls all alcohol sales and has some rather strict enforcement around proper ID for alcohol sales. If you serve someone unlawfully, either underage or without proper ID, the business incurred a fine or a suspended license if it's been several violations, and the individual that sold to the customer would get a personal fine as well. I think it was around $1,000 or $1,200. I'm not up on current laws, so they may have changed in the 20-ish years since I had last dealt with them. It's also possible that some of these restrictions were partly company policy. It's been a while. Anyway, proper ID meant it had to be intact, not expired, and most importantly, present at the bar. It was a rural area where I grew up in, so I knew how to be pretty annoying to some of the older-than-me gentlemen that came in. A guy around 40 and his family was seated at a big round table in the bar area, wife and 3 or 4 kids. I remember the kids were pretty young, so I'm already judging for having the kids in the smoking/bar area. It was still legal to smoke indoors then. I'm also pretty annoyed as it's a college bar, sports bar vibe on a Sunday afternoon, and they were taking up a valuable table in the bar area that I would have otherwise had a table of drinkers that would most likely tip better and require less work. That aside, I go up, and I'm nice to everyone because tips. Go up and say hi, dude immediately barks at me to get his game on the bar TVs, not even pretending to be pleasant, and he calls me girly, which makes me see red immediately. I grew up with too much of that redneck patronizing kind of BS, and that particular term has always filled me with rage. I know I'm not getting jacked for a tip because I'm girly, and I know this type of guy. When he asked to order a pitcher, I asked for ID. We were told that if they looked over 30, we didn't have to ask, but as it was our fine too, we could always ask if we felt the need. It's a pretty petty bit of annoyance, but was one of the few powers I had to be annoying and not to be doing anything wrong in my job. Usually it just means they have to fish their wallet out or possibly go out to their car to get it. I always made the annoying ones remove it from the holder, and if I lucked out, it was one of those clingy clear windows that took them a few minutes to get out. Like I said, petty as hell, but he called me girly. He doesn't have his ID. This is where malicious compliance comes in. I asked the guy that was obviously over the legal drinking age of 21 to be a little annoying, but now that he can't provide it, I must adhere to the letter of the law and won't serve him. I tell him I can't serve him and tell him legally I can't now that I've asked for ID and he can't provide it. He throws a fit, says he'll go up the road to a pizza place that had beer and how I'm losing out, and he wants to talk to my manager. Tables nearby are giving him the stink eye. Manager's kind of annoyed but backs me because as we're in a small college town, we're really strict as the business would die if the ABC/liquor license was suspended or revoked. And as a server, I have the right to refuse as it's my behind on the line as well. I would speculate that we would have never received a violation if we had had a walk-in compliance check unless we were on a hit list that week. But for him, I do everything perfectly by the book. I actually felt slightly bad because the kids seemed disappointed to leave, but it was on him at that point since his pitcher of beer was more important than his family eating where they wanted. There's definitely something wrong with the person who prioritizes personal alcohol intake over families/children's comfort/well-being. And our second story. Oh, people of Wally World, will you ever learn? This just happened. Cast and description. Myself, 6 foot, 300 pounds, keen protective boots, black tactical combat cargo pants, blue button-down with company logo, black and red tie, straw resist-style cowboy hat, large Amish-style beard, but with a mustache. Karen, 5 foot 5 inches, 200 plus pounds, flip-flops, 1 red undershirt, 1 purple button-down unbuttoned women's shirt over that, 1 black button-down type sweater jacket thing, large pink flamingo handbag, cart full of cat food and accessories, pinched face, rainbow dyed hair. Store manager. Black dress shoes, white button-down, blue tie, name badge, yellow scanning tool, confused face. Electronics associate. 5 foot 6 inches, skinny, young, pale, greasy hair, clearly rolled out of bed minutes before his shift and hates work but loved video games. Loss prevention lady. Tall, 5 foot 10, fit, roughly 130 but very muscular build, t-shirt, brown pants, New Balance shoes. The story. I went to Walmart to get my medication and my children's medication. I had ran out of my meds 2 days ago and have PTSD and several other issues from trauma and combat. Don't thank me, I work for a PMC, greed not honor was my motto. I'm a psychopath while medicated, but a true a-hole when not medicated, but I'm kind to people doing their jobs and workers. It's everyone else that I don't care for. I'm talking to employee about the Oculus because I heard you can play Among Us in VR and my kids love Among Us. I picked up 2 with the upgrades and longer cables and he rings me out there. I head over to Pets Department just a little ways down, looking for a big bone for my English Bulldog to munch, ignore, and leave for me or my wife to step on in the middle of the night. Worse than Legos. I pick up the large bone, most likely formerly attached to a cow, and compare it to another looking for meat content because the more meat, the more time Spike will eat it before losing interest. Someone then grabs my right arm to spin me around. I have no hearing on my right side and only 14% on my left. Thanks, explosive device. Also being grabbed from behind is a huge fight or flight trigger for me, which always gets my legs shaking and heart racing. I come face to face with a toad of a woman who starts whining about my customer service as I'm a manager and I should know better and how I needed to grab a pet carrier off the top shelf for her. Now I love confrontation and absolutely love arguing, but I know I have 2 large bone-made clubs in my hands and need to put them down before I move forward. I out both bones in my cart and turn back to Karen. Me. Excuse me? 1, I don't. Her. Excuse me? How dare me? Shut your bloody mouth, Karen. I'm speaking and you're listening. I don't effing work here, and mostly deaf. You don't get to grab random people, and I don't give a F about serving you. It's in your best interest to go away at this time. Her. How dare you call me Karen and talk to me like that? I'm going to have you fired and maybe call the police with how you just talked to me. Me. You're the one that assaulted me, lifting my right arm, which is absolutely covered in scars, and waving it around. Her eyes follow it like a dog begging for a treat. Me. I clearly had no idea you were there as you were standing to my right side. I point at the right side of my head and remove my prosthetic ear again, waving it around. She goes from white to green and toddles off. I laugh to myself and make my way to the bathroom and reattach my ear. It's held in place with magnets, but it takes a mirror to make it look right. When I come out, there's quite the gathering. There's store manager, actual store manager as his picture's on the front of the store, electronics associate, Karen, loss prevention, found out after she introduced herself, and a worried assistant manager. Karen, that's him. He went in the bathroom with something in his hands after threatening me in the pet aisle. Manager, is that true, sir? Me, yes and no. I did bring something in the bathroom, but no, I didn't threaten her. Loss prevention goes into the bathroom as we wait, comes out and says it's clean. Manager, what did you take in the bathroom? Me, my ear. I again remove my ear and turn my head, exposing the scarred hole/lizard ear. Manager's face goes white. Electronics kid smiles and walks away. Assistant manager gasps and dips out. Loss prevention grins and laughs. Manager asks what happened, and I explain I can't talk about it, think he's talking about the ear. Karen tries to butt in, but I shush her, complete with the Austin Powers hand gesture. Loss prevention rolls up her pant leg to show a prosthetic leg. Iraq convoy. The store manager cuts into our side chat and directs us back on topic. What exactly happened in the pet department? I explain my side. Karen claims I threatened her with the bones. Store manager has us wait there as loss prevention goes up front to check cameras. Couple minutes later, she returns. Would never have guessed her leg was prosthetic. I have an instant crush. Loss prevention explains that the video shows me looking at bones get pulled around, yelled at. I calmly put the bones away and let her rip, but no audio and no physical gestures that imply threat. The only crime was Karen grabbing me. I turn to Karen and grin. Store manager, would you like us to call the police, sir? Karen's white as a ghost at this point. Me, ma'am, are you going to continue grabbing random people at stores and bossing them around? Karen, no, I'm sorry. Me, no, I think she learned. Manager asks Karen to leave her card and exit the store. He's not trespassing her and she's welcome back, just not today. She leaves without a fuss. I grab my card and walk with loss prevention and manager to the front, shake hands and leave. Karen's in her car a couple rows over, crying her eyes out. And our last story. Entitled mom accuses me of stealing, so I eject her from the property. My mom owns a farm, and every year she has a community day where various people volunteer to entertain the local children. I have a face paint stall where for 3 hours I paint faces for free with my own materials. An hour into it, EM enters the scene and asks me whether I've seen her daughter's phone. I say I saw a pinkish phone on the table, but that was a while ago, and I don't know where it is now. Turns out that was her daughter's phone, so naturally, she then accuses me of stealing it. I told her she can check my bag as I haven't left this seat for ages. She searches my phoneless bag and then accuses a volunteer face painter of being in cahoots with me to steal the phone. It goes back and forth like this for a while, me denying, her accusing. She ends up being so belligerent that I tell her to leave the property. She screams at me, telling me that a 22-year-old cannot evict her. She says she wants to see the owner of the property. We find the owner and she freaks out when I say, "Hi, Mom. Can you kick this woman out?" She left in haste, cursing me. Edit. I don't know what happened to the phone, but the experience did teach me 2 lessons. Karens look just like regular folk. Don't let their normal appearance fool you. They're nuts. Just really. Why would you as an adult who's painting faces want to steal some kid's phone? I'd probably have given her some snarky answer like, "Oh, I needed a pink phone for my collection." Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.